Ladies and gentlemen, when we think of products that make a lot of money on Shopify, we tend to think of really unique things that you can't find anywhere else. We hardly ever think of products that actually have a mass appeal and you could consider to be a little bit generic. And in this video, we're going to actually dive really deep into a store that, exactly like the latter thing I just mentioned, they are somewhat generic. They are a pretty cool store, but I'm going to show you just how normal this store is. And through this normal approach that they're taking, they are able to do $29 million per month. I'm not talking about per year. I'm not talking about total lifetime revenue. I am talking about per month. It's quite unbelievable. So we're going to dive into everything in this video, and it's going to be extremely valuable. Reverse engineering these things is always really helpful for not only your own learning, but also for the future. I know that may sound crazy, but it's true. I work with a lot of crazy brands, some big ones, and just studying these things every day has really allowed me to, provide value for those brands in a big way. So as you see, we got store leads pulled up, and we're estimating right away the revenue to be $29 million a month, and the store is called Hey Dudes. I believe I've touched on them before. However, I want to do a more detailed video on it because they've just continued to grow more and more. And, as you see now, their monthly visitors are consistently at the 4 million mark. And what's crazy to me is, honestly, their products aren't anything that crazy. They are cool designs, but they're not insanely well made or anything that crazy. They've just really created a cult-like brand with a lot of different variety of products, which actually is one of the things I want to touch on right away. This is a great example of how a niche store can continue to grow over and over again, month over month for a long time by just simply releasing new products. I mean, that's really the main strategy here, is consistently releasing new products that are on trend and that aren't even necessarily too risky to launch, right? Like, these things are probably going to convert well because it's literally just the same product, but with some sort of design on it, a new design. This is actually similar to the Udi, right? With Davey Fogarty, he kind of did the same thing, actually. He had this winning product, right? This kind of mass appeal product, and then just created new designs for it. And that just created this flywheel of growth. And that's exactly what they're doing. Now, this is just another thing I want to show is that these guys are running a big sale. So 25% off almost everything. That's pretty crazy. That's a big sale. So, a lot of people say if you are a brand, you should never run sales all the time. Well, some of the biggest brands in the world are doing this. And actually, just quickly, I want to show you their revenue in 2023 was almost $1 billion. Almost a whole billion. And they're actually owned by Crocs. So, Crocs is building a monopoly here on these types of shoes, which is really interesting to see, honestly. And the other thing that's interesting to see is that even though they mainly have men's shoes, I mean, the brand is literally called Hey Dude, they also are constantly coming up with new things for kids, new things for women. So they're pushing the boundaries all the time and testing new things, which, once we look at their ads, you're going to see as well how much they truly test. But this is really what makes the difference, guys. It's just continuously testing new things and pushing boundaries. So let me show you. Let's go to popularity. So this will show us which shoe is the most popular out of this collection. So this is all the men's shoes. This is one of the most popular here. It's just a Wally sports mesh. It's a mesh shoe that has this sort of like boat shoe design. It's nothing that crazy. I mean, it's pretty nice. Like, I think people really do like it, but actually a lot of people don't. And I did want to highlight this, not to be, a dick or anything to the brand. Like, I know that, these guys are great and sometimes things happen, but I want to show you this as encouragement, right? Sometimes it helps to see that even some of these big brands, they don't get the best reviews sometimes. Look at, 2 reviews back to back of people saying that the products are terrible, that the customer service sucks. And then even here, we're seeing consistent bad reviews here. This is actually pretty, bad. Wow, there's a lot of really bad reviews here. So again, this isn't just to like shit on the brand or anything. This is just to show you that sometimes people get in their heads and have limiting beliefs about launching there. For example, if you're launching a branded dropshipping store, which is something that, we teach at akemilab.com. Obviously, we're an agency and we work with incredible brands, but we do try to always be on top of, the latest launch strategies. And I believe branded dropshipping is a great way to launch an e-commerce business. So it's one of the things that we teach and one of the things that we actually practice as well. I'll show you a TikTok in a different video, and maybe I'll make a whole video around this, but we launched a store from zero, targeting US only, and did $600 in a day from $200 spent through a very simple strategy in a branded dropshipping approach. So ultimately, that's why I wanted to show you this, right? Because I just want to show you that even if you're struggling at the beginning to make your customers super happy, it's part of the game. And as long as you just continue to try to serve them, you will be in a great spot for growth. And honestly, I don't want to say that you should do this, but even if you don't serve them the best, as you see, you're still going to continue to grow if you're, consistently focusing on the right strategies. These guys are running a lot of ads, so let's actually focus on that now. This is what their product page looks like, and it's pretty simple. But their ad library, as you see, has 300 different results. And this is I actually saw some data recently from Meta where they showed that the top advertisers are testing almost 100 times more than the average advertiser, that the theme of this video today is test more. And they're doing exactly that when it comes to Meta ads. They are testing so many different things all the time. 300 different ads, that's a lot of ads. So just remember that when you think maybe you have a brand and you hit a plateau and you think maybe your product is dead, actually it's likely that you just haven't really gotten creative with your ads or tested enough. And the great thing is you don't have to get super creative. That's why we made this new product recently at akemilab.com. If you go to products and you go to the ultimate $10 million TikTok ad data set, that's the reason we created this, because I know sometimes it's very hard to find, to get creative and find ideas that are going to work. So what we did is we compiled a list of 100 different TikTok ads that have all produced over $100,000 in sales each. So it adds up to over $10 million, and that's why we called it this. But replicating these ads, the great thing is all of these ads are actually not crazy edited. It's really raw ads that almost anybody can make. So that's why we created it, so that you could have some inspiration and test more ads. Because again, that's really the key. A lot of people hate to hear that because they want to find shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. This is probably the closest you can get to a shortcut, is to just, not reinvent the wheel and copy what works. And that's exactly what they're doing. So they're running a lot of different sales. They're running a lot of different ad creatives, some really well-shot ads. They're starting to target more women, as you can see, which is kind of interesting. And yeah, that's really about it for their ads. Their social media is extremely good. This is really where they shine, and they have a huge following now because of it. As you see, they have 600,000 on Instagram and then 500,000 on TikTok. And what's cool is they're actually not even reposting their Instagram or their TikToks onto Instagram, which I think is a huge missed opportunity. If they're not doing it on this page, they should at least be doing it on a separate page. But ultimately, this is, one of the big keys to their success is they're continuously pumping out a ton of content. And this is actually a way to test. A lot of people don't see this as a testing strategy. They see it as just like a social media strategy. But, I like to consider myself a bit of a scientist when it comes to business and e-commerce. And just in general, I really love science. But this is a testing strategy. It's just utilizing organic algorithms as opposed to paid ads. And what's great about this is if you find something with viral potential, for example, let's say this video that got 100,000 views, this is a sign that you should potentially run some ad spend behind that. And funny enough, actually, a lot of brands aren't even doing this. I don't even think they're doing it. Funny enough, again, people don't know that you can actually run all those ads on Meta and likely get really good results. In my opinion, they should totally be, taking this 300 number to even 500, right? They could be testing 500 different creatives with some of the content that they have on TikTok. And if anybody from the Hey Dude team is watching, I would absolutely love to work with you, to consult with you, to provide value in any way, shape, or form. I just simply love providing value for e-com brands and just brands in general. I'm a big believer in that it all comes around, right? I'm trying to stack good karma. I'm always trying to provide as much value as possible. Because what's cool about this, guys, this is what I'm so thankful for when it comes to this community, is that as much as this content, you know, benefits me, right? Because I'm reaching more people and whatnot. It's also really helpful for people. So it's a really symbiotic relationship here. And same thing with providing value for brands, right? I get to help them and provide as much value as possible, but in return, I get to learn priceless information that's going to continue to help me in the future as I grow as an entrepreneur. So that's a good mindset thing I wanted to share with you that I have myself that maybe could help you in the future. Every single experience that you have, whether you're getting paid for it or not, whether you're making sales or not, even if you've posted 20 TikToks and you've gotten 0 sales, these things are teaching you things, whether you know it or not. Sometimes it's not obvious in the moment, but it becomes obvious over time. So yeah, I covered a lot with this store. I think there's a lot more that we could cover on Store Leads. Actually, what's cool about this is we can see some of their apps. They're using a lot of different apps. This is an interesting one. It's a UGC app to find UGC content. But yeah, I think this store is definitely a great example of how far you can push a very simple niche. In my opinion, this niche isn't anything that crazy. And given the reviews that they're getting, a lot of people obviously love them. They wouldn't be so big without a solid community. But I will say also that they just have amazing marketing strategies. They probably have really great unit economics. There's a lot of things that we don't see behind the scenes. We're only judging the surface level stuff here. But I'm sure there's some really talented people in the back end here that are really understanding unit economics and allowing this to grow to this extent. So super cool stuff. And yeah, they don't also do direct to consumer. That's a big thing here. They also sell in stores. They have a huge retail chain similar to Crocs. I didn't want to mention that in the very beginning because it's not super realistic for a lot of people, but it's definitely a worthwhile strategy to put into place once you're building some good momentum. But that's really about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you check out akemilab.com. Make sure you join our community in Discord. I would love to have you in there. I would love to provide value to you in any way. And, just join our newsletter. We have a lot of cool stuff here, and we're only getting better. I'm only building this team more and more and trying, again, to provide as much value as possible. So be optimistic about the future because we're in it together. But that's about it. Peace.